Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. I am your rather tanned host, Mark Blake, and by my side, virtually, is my co-host, Mark Madison. How the devil are you, dude?
I'm doing great, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. I did sound tanned. I've not long got back from my summer holiday or vacation, whichever you want to call it, where it really did feel like I was on the edge of hell. It was that hot. Vacation itself was actually fantastic. It was just the heat. We spoke multiple times through my week away, and it was, I think, the most it hit was 48 degrees. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, folks. I'll let you work that out. But 48 degrees was, and this is a technical term, fucking hot. So, yeah, I'm good. I've been back a few days now, all rested up. And
you sound rested.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I do. I think that vacation holiday was muchly needed for all three of us. Check my Instagram, which obviously will drop the links at the end for any. That's not right. For my little vlogs that I posted, and you'll see my wingman and my wife showing a little bit of leg as well. You lucky people. But yeah, I'm very good, and I'm back for a couple of days, and we're recording a podcast on the eve of Summerslam. How are you? How's you? How's your life? How's everything on your side of the pond?
Good. My wife's birthday was yesterday, and so we enjoyed the fruits of that day and resting. I've finished a course, and I'm like, my brain is now finally in vacation mode, and yeah, gonna do some odds and ends. Maybe go to Wonderland. Shout out to my friend Steve. We're going to go catch a movie next week. So looking forward to that. I'm going to go see M. Night Shyamalan's Trapped.
Hey, Steve. How you doing, man?
There you go. Yeah. The plan is to go see M. Night Shyamalan's Trapped. So hopefully...
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I've been harassed by my wingman to go and see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
My wingman is 12, so that ain't happening. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But I'm hopefully you have a nice time with Steve. It's been a while since geez, man, it's nearly a year since I was over there with you guys. Sorry, we, the family, was over with you guys. I met Steve, had a great day. He is a dude. So many things in common with the guy. It's unreal.
Yeah, so, like a man of your own heart. Mentioning we all caught a Jays game together last year. That's exactly what Steve is doing this coming week. He's catching a couple of them actually. So
yeah, it was a good day. Yeah. Good beer, good food, good game, good conversation. It was perfect end to my vacation back then. But yeah, hey Steve, hope you're doing good. Catch up soon, hopefully. I have plans. So now we've caught up, and everyone knows what we've been doing for the past few weeks. Shall we crack on with some wrestling?
Let's go.
So before we get into the SummerSlam predictions, I just want to run over, I'm going to say a couple of news bits, but they're kind of intertwined. Normally, myself and Mark wouldn't even give this any credence, but I'm going to call into question Tony Khan's running of his company. I don't know if you lot have seen the news recently, but Britt Baker, the returning Britt Baker, has been suspended. According to, who was it? It was Dave Meltzer. She was suspended and fined for an incident, for an incident that occurred backstage at Dynamite on July 17th. Mark, do you want to, because you know more about this, you obviously still on the site and you do everything on the site, so you are the head honcho. Just inform myself and the millions of what the bloody hell is going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. There was apparently an altercation that took place between MJF and Britt Baker that had followed. This is a following. Previously, now speculation is speculation, and this is a couple of news outlets are kind of sharing this, right? So between Meltzer of The Observer and then Fightful also kind of reconfirming things that Britt had shared some sort of displeasure with MJF. I'm not sure the details to that, but with it as it's been revealed, based off of, I guess, the scuttlebutt, that word of her displeasure with MJF got back to him through his girlfriend Alicia Tout, who he previously worked with in MLW and is now working with AEW. So as Days of Our Lives in the name of a soap opera that goes, it circulates. Basically, it's all seemed to have come about in that MJF confronted her about it. I'm not sure the degree of the argument, but then as both has been shared, I'm sure there's more details that will probably follow up. A suspension had followed this, and now I'm sure it's very short term. I don't think it'll in any way impact her match coming up with Mercedes for the AEW Women's title. But does it affect the booking of the ending? I mean, if anything, it might have confirmed it. So
I'm looking on the dirt sheets now, and as you were talking, I was having a quick flick through, and it's come up that Fightful Select has said that Baker exercised frustration about MJF being in the women's locker room. If that's the thing that's got her suspended, I don't understand. Why would I know MJF's girlfriend is Alicia, who would be in the women's locker room, but why would a male be in the women's locker room? That's
so was her concern that he was in the locker room, or was her conversation about him while she was in the women's locker room? Like, because women are talking, I guess, and that's how it got shipped. Because there was apparently there were previous issues that had not quite been resolved, and these two that were closer apparently had a falling out.
Yeah.
So then, is this just another thing that has kind of like got the bee in her bonnet, and you're bothered by, right?
I really don't know. I don't if it really is the fact that a male was in the female locker room and she spoke up about it, and then she gets suspended. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If there's more, and to be honest, if she's been suspended, there's got to be more to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
Then so be it. But then we said before we jumped on that, Britt has been a bit of a pain since she became women's champion. You said that the fallout between her and Thunder Rosa back in the day, that was all Britt's doing. There's, as you said earlier, scuttlebutt about her and Adam Cole's relationship. We're not going to talk about that because nothing's been said publicly. But there is, if you want to read it, you can find it online. But there's crap like that flying around. It's a bit strange. And then following on from that, we have Sammy Guevara. He's come back. They've found something for him after was it suspension that because he gave Jeff Hardy,
right?
Yeah, he gave Jeff Hardy a concussion. This is one of the longest suspensions for concussion protocol ever, I think. So they bring him back, and he's on Ring of Honor, and I didn't think much of it. And then you said yourself that maybe he was not demoted. That's the wrong word. Maybe he was placed on the Ring of Honor roster because of issues between him and Mercedes Moné. Because back in the day, he said something in the press that was not flattering about Mercedes in any way, shape, or form. And now she's obviously on the roster and she doesn't want him there. And as I said to you off air, I'm getting CM Punk Colt Cabana vibes. What the bloody hell is going on?
Now, so if he's apologized, he's gone for sensitivity training, and he's done this, is he bound by this forever? Is that because then now again more speculation. I don't know where that's confirmed that is the reason that that's happened.
Exactly.
But the timing in which he returns and she's on the main show and he isn't, I don't know. Too many, I guess.
the reason why, like I said, I brought this up is because it does feel like that Tony Khan is once again losing the reins to the horse. I don't know why this keeps happening. Is it a thing that he brings in these major names and he gives them a bit too much control, or maybe he marks out because everyone knows that he's like a wrestling fan. Maybe he marks out a bit too much and he gives them a bit more leeway than the people he's already got on the roster. I don't know. What my point is that right now, where AEW is still trying to negotiate a TV deal, the exclusivity between them and Warner Brothers Discovery has finished, so they can shop around as much as they like now. This is negative press that he does not need, that could be stopped if he put his foot down. Am I wrong?
No, but I mean, how is it that his football team, or his both football teams, his American football team and his English Premier League team, how is it that these teams don't have, or do they? I mean, you can speak to Fulham, and is there generally any negative press that follows a team, any scuttlebutt negatively where guys and or girls do things that bring upon attention, or is it because of this particular form of media and these athletes are just bred different? I don't know.
I'm going to hazard a guess. As you said, he owns or has a participation, at least, with Jacksonville Jaguars and Fulham Football Club. Now, over here, I can speak about Fulham. When him and his dad took over Fulham, there were people already in place. There were professionals that knew what they were doing and how to run the football and showed them the ropes. With Jacksonville, exactly the same. There were people in place. The delegating went straight down the line. They showed them how to run the team and the organisation, and everything is going smoothly. Obviously, there's going to be hiccups along the way. When he started AEW with the Bucks, Cody, and everyone else, and Kenny, he didn't have anyone in place for the business side of things. And that's where this is going wrong. Punk said himself it was the lunatics running the asylum. How many times has Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, John Moxley done this rah-rah speech where they've got the whole locker room out and said, you don't hear of that in any other company. And maybe because it's brand new and, all the eyes of the world are on it and it's getting too much publicity. So anything and everything is under the microscope and it's going to be recorded. I don't know. But I just feel like that he needs more people in place. And he has hired a few people in like talent relations and things like that. I can't remember exactly who, but from TNA and WWE. So right. He is trying that, but I don't know. Do you know what, honestly, I fear for AEW right now because I reckon if they get a new deal with Warner Brothers Discovery or elsewhere, it's going to be for less money. And if it's for less money, what's going to happen with the wrestlers? They're going to. Yeah. I'm just worried.
So I said this to a few years ago, and I make the comparison between children. You're more tolerant of your younger child because, well, they're new to life. Your 2-year-old doesn't have the experience that your 20-year-old does. They just don't. They are going to make different mistakes. They're learning what is and what isn't acceptable socially, what have you. But now your 2-year-old is almost 6, right? They're going to school. They're getting other experiences. That patience, that understanding begins to wear thin, especially if you do have really knowledgeable, accessible producers and talent on staff, but you have talent that don't access or make use of their feedback and their direction or their guidance as producers because you just don't. And Hangman Page is one that has said he's he's not going to take anyone's advice. I know there's the wanting to do it on your own, but then there's like listening to logic and listening to reason and listening to understanding. And he's one guy that speaks to that. I think he gave the example of like, I think it was maybe mentioned with Arn Anderson, and like, how can you not listen to Arn Anderson? How can you not?
Yeah, you're right. How can you not listen to Arn Anderson? We spoke about him last week. We spoke about Dean Malenko, who's also a bloody an agent. Did you not listen to them? Two of the greatest minds in the goddamn industry ever. And he's so pig-headed, or pig-headed is the wrong word, so confident in himself that, no, I don't need to hear any feedback or anything else or being told what to do or giving any input. I'm going to do it my way. That works to a point. You're right. You're bang on. I'm just getting wound up. Sorry.
No, but and that doesn't happen in another place. And if it is still under control, because yes, there's creative freedom, but this is the risk. And we're not here to just have you here for a week, run the risk of injuring yourself so you're not back next week, and that the time and the money we invest in you is gone. Like, it's as much of a shared opportunity for you to give your best, but not at a point where we have to protect you from yourself. Does that make sense?
Indeed, yeah, total.
Like, the risks that Jeff Hardy took, never smart, but it almost felt like it was somewhat controlled. Whereas Darby Allin's, I fear, yes, I know he doesn't plan on living a long life, but do we want to see like a homicide? Do we want to see a suicide indirectly on screen? I don't know.
Did you watch Dynamite from like a couple of days ago?
This past week, yeah.
Yeah. The spot with the fall away slam on the stairs.
Yeah.
What the hell? What the hell? What did that? A spot like that should be a closer, not a bloody, a spot right before an advert break. There's no. You're right. He's said on many times that he doesn't expect to live long. Okay, that's cool. Do you really want to be dying in the ring? That's possibly going to happen. He's gone through glass. He's jumped off 25, 30-foot structures. And don't get me wrong, I love Darby. He's so good. But he has this death wish, and sometimes this death wish, I think, just takes over that brain just a bit too often. Mm-hmm. And something bad's going to happen in the ring. I don't know. That's basically it, guys and girls. It was just, is Tony Khan losing his authoritative grip on the company? Did he have it to start with? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on social medias. Hit us in the DMs. Always open. That's that. I've had my gripe and my whinge and my rant. Let's crack on with the main subject. It is SummerSlam tomorrow, as we're recording right now. It is the biggest show of the summer, which I'm going to call bull on, because I'm going to the biggest show in the summer, because I'm going to All In. But I will still be watching it with my wingman, and we're quite looking forward to it. There's a fair few matches on here which could be low-key bangers. Mm-hmm. Where should we start? We'll work undercard all the way to the main event, shall we?
Let's do it, undercard all the way to the main event.
Okay.
And even the main event is debatable as to what we would consider the main event, maybe.
Well, then the undercard... in the undercard could be subjective as well, because there's one match here that has a particular wrestler which I would have no interest in, because I think this particular wrestler is dangerous and everything else. And we'll get to her very, very quickly. Okay, shall we start? What do you reckon would open the show? They're going to go for a hot start, aren't they? So I think they would open with Gunther/Walter against Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There for a hot start, because they're not going to open with Cody, are they? They're going to finish with Cody.
No.
Right.
I don't even know if they'll finish with Cody.
Really?
Well, there's another match that's getting lots of
Oh
airtime
yeah.
and love.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know. And more importantly, so does my wingman, because he. On a quick side note, whilst we were away on holiday vacation, I think he has started to notice girls and women. So when we got back a couple of days ago, he jumped onto like TikTok and all this kind of stuff that he's on, and he started talking about Liv Morgan and how pretty she is. We'll just leave that there. We'll sidebar that.
Did he end up seeing Monday Night Raw?
He has seen,
Last week. Last week.
yeah, he has seen some gifs from last week's Raw with yeah, the dancing and what have you. Luckily enough, he doesn't listen to this, so I can get away with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So, Damien Priest, Gunter. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to go down? Give me your thoughts.
They really are building to Damian Priest being the face. They're really trying to. There's more of a focus on his backstory and building this empathy for him as far as what he has, which is legit. It's legitimate, and I think that was. I mean, his split from Judgment Day almost feels imminent. But yeah, I think the way that they have him positioned as a sympathetic champion that's really come a long way. If he loses it, I don't even think it's going to be his fault. There's always been this question about booking, or not always been, but there's been a lot of questions around the booking about him never winning cleanly or mistakes happening or whatever it is. It's just situational, right? But, you know, I read something online where fan theories on Finn Balor and his place and how he may cost. He says he's not going to get involved, but just don't trust that per se. I think we could just be seeing a full Judgment Day implosion all on the same day. But yeah, maybe this is the night we see a new champion, and not even because I necessarily want it. I think I want Gunther to become champion at one point. I just want it to feel right, and there's too many variables I think that we don't talk about with Damian Priest working against him, and it being those that are supposed to be his biggest supporters within his faction. So yeah, that's my call going in. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we see a new world champion in Gunther. Thoughts?
I'm 100% right behind you. Absolutely. Gunter/Walter, he's been booked and made to look like an unstoppable beast. Pun not intended. He looks like the kind of guy that you would put the belt on and kind of, you know, put the company on his shoulders. He looks like that. How can I put it? The understated badass. Everyone knows what he's like in the ring. He's like that out of the ring as well. He's very articulate. He can be polite and everything else. He can also be, you know, put his point across and be dominant and everything else outside the ring. He's that kind of champion in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you are bang on the nose with Finn. I reckon he's gonna. Something's gonna. There's gonna be some kind of shenanigans. Now that's gonna be something you're gonna hear quite a lot throughout this from me anyway. Shenanigans is gonna happen in this match. Whether it's a member coming out to help Damien and Finn, inverted air quotes, you know, coming out to stop them. Or it could be something else, but you're right. Shenanigans is going to happen. Gunther will win. Damian Priest is going to turn when Finn literally beats the ever-loving crap out of him.
And I don't even think it's just Finn. I don't think it's just Finn. I think Finn's got support with JD for sure.
Yeah, JD. I think he's going to have everyone on side. Whether or not that includes Rhea, I don't know, because Rhea is in the same kind of spot as Damien at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We've spoken about this before, about how there could be some kind of split between Judgment Day, whether that carries on or whether there's a splinter group and they civil war amongst themselves. It looks like it could happen. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? So we're both saying Gunther.
Okay.
That's right. That's it. Gunther for the win. Right, let me scroll down here. I've gone too far. What would you have after that? I would have LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I tackled the first one.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Do you want to go first? Or should we just flip flop between it? I don't know.
I think let's flip flop. It's yours. Tag, you're it.
Right. Okay. Now, we are in Cleveland. I don't know how many of you have noticed this throughout your wrestling fandom. If there is a wrestler from that particular town that they're having the show in, that wrestler, 99% of the time, loses. And I think, actually, no, I don't think, I guarantee you Logan Paul loses. LA Knight needs this. He's still over majorly with everyone in the entire world. But he needs something to solidify himself, and this is it. He needs a title, and I think the prestige of knocking Logan Paul off the top of the tree in his hometown is going to be the one that does it. Logan Paul doesn't need the title. I think he's got some outside kind of projects coming up soon anyway, so he might need some time off, which makes sense. LA Knight for the win. Logan Paul's going to do some shenanigans because A, is at home. Don't be surprised if Jake Paul turns up. Maybe he's inside the prime bottle this time. And yeah, LA Knight to win.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Exactly. Not that Logan Paul hasn't already. He's like, his title defenses have been few and far between during his reign, and yes, he's been fairly regular on screen, and I'm sure that it's not necessary. Like, he's still he's gonna do his other things, and I'm sure he'll come back clamoring for his title. And there's enough options, even elevating other guys on SmackDown and seeing an Andrade compete and Carmelo Hayes. Like, there's enough other guys that can be threats. Santos Escobar. Like, there are guys that can come in and contest for the U.S. title with LA Knight as a champion, right? So maybe that's the direction they head. I would totally support it, like yourself. Yeah, let's say finally sees that championship win, and then it's how does he hold the title? How is he as champion? I think that becomes the next quest.
That's the difficult thing, isn't it? Once you've got the title, especially with someone like LA Knight, who is just over like Rover, and who's going to step up? You know, he needs a good dastardly heel, and I think you've already named him. I think Carmelo Hayes would be perfect for LA Knight's first defense, and Carmelo could do with a bit more of a spotlight on him because that guy is so good. His NXT run was amazing. I can't believe it, but at the moment, 2 matches in, we are both saying the same people to win.
You think we see things relatively similar?
Okay, let's try this one. Oh man, I don't believe I've got to say this. Right, so
your favorite.
Yeah. Woo. The WWE Women's Championship, where the walking disaster Nia Jax takes on the champion Bayley. You can go first.
Okay, we've, man, you may not like me after this one, but I'm waiting for something to have Bayley super over. And upon like her initial heel run as that heel was so good. It was so good. And then she came back with Damage Control. And then it just didn't feel, I don't know, at least to me, it just didn't feel like enough. Like, I wasn't buying it. And now she's the face. She's a safe choice in having as champion. I just don't know if it's the one that, like, if her holding the title, because right now Tiffany is super over as a heel. And
yeah,
a cash in by Tiffany on Bailey is over. A cash in on Nia Jax would be over. So I almost I don't see it being a long time, but I wonder if Nia walks out as champion and walks out as champion just because you keep your friends close and you keep your enemies closer. Maybe this is a case of that. Like she's supposed to be the princess to Nia's queen of the ring. I wonder if we see that double cross, but I think not enough people would cheer for Nia regardless. I mean, they really had to work on her being shamed a few years ago in that storyline with her and Alexa. But I just don't.
Mm.
She wins, but I think she gets cashed in on. I think Nia wins, but she gets cashed in on. If she doesn't, I think Bailey gets cashed in on because if there's one woman that's over on that roster, it's neither of them, at least on SmackDown. So, what's your take?
What's my take?
Yeah, I had to tiptoe away out of that one.
You, the millions are sitting there rubbing their hands, going, right, come on then, let's see you spin off. Bailey and Nia have history dating back to NXT days.
Yep.
Where Nia's lack of just lack, I'm not going to say of what, but just Nia's lack of everything could have been and was kind of pushed under the carpet because it was NXT, because it's a developmental brand. You could get away with it, and they did. They worked really well together. I saw them live over here for NXT London, and it wasn't a bad match. I was convinced Nia was going to win that match. Bailey come out on top. Fast forward however many years since then, and they're on the main roster, and it's for the title. And I'm going to shock everyone and say that Nia's going to win against my better judgment.
Oh my gosh, we agree again.
Storyline, don't get me wrong, I desperately want Bailey to win. But like you, I wouldn't say she's gone stale, but she's getting stale. And I think if she gets stale, it's too late for her. So by getting the title off of her and making her chase it, or maybe chase Tiffany, if she gets involved, makes her fresh again and therefore gets the crowd behind her.
Yeah.
Which then leaves Nia as as your women's champion, and every female wrestler should be perfectly worried in having a match with her because of many reasons that I've said many times. Look in the archives, you know where they are. I don't want it to happen, but for the sake of the story going forward with Tiffany, and for Bailey's sake, I reckon Nia's going to win. I don't think there's going to be a cash in. I don't think it would work. I think Nia needs to be presented as this beast, with the Bam Bam Bigelow kind of style beast.
Right.
And I think winning the title and then losing it literally seconds later for a cash in, that hurts Nia more than makes Tiffany more, if that makes sense.
Right.
I want Bailey to win. I really do. But I think, thinking with my wrestling head and my booking head and whatever else, I think Nia wins. I'm sorry, folks. Okay. I know you was waiting for me to completely run her down, and I have done a million times. Like I said, go look in the archives. But I just have a feeling she's going to win. Really do. Right. That's that bombshell out of the way. Where should we go next? Let's go. A rematch from Money in the Bank. We'll have Bron Breakker taking on Sami Zayn for the IC title. It's me, isn't it? It's me to go. I was surprised at the end of Money in the Bank that Sami Zayn had the win. I'm not going to lie. I think me and you and 95% of the world was surprised when Sami picked up the win. I don't see that happening here. I think this is Bron's LA Knight moment, if that makes sense. He hasn't been on the main roster that as long as LA Knight, but this will solidify him. And I think because Zayn can or Sammy, sorry, can make it work, I think Bron is going to absolutely destroy Sammy. Sammy can take the beating because he's over like Rover and always will be. He's Sammy bloody Zayn, for Christ's sake. Bron needs to look dominant and strong and everything that he is, and Sammy will sell and bump for him so much. If it's even if it's during the match or an after match beatdown, Sammy's getting the proverbial kicked right out of him. I just think it's going to get to the point where Sammy just can't, Sammy's like the ultimate underdog. He always gets up. He's got that Darby Allin vibe about him. He's always getting up. I think Bron beats that out of him, and Sammy literally can't get up. And that's that. Going forward, I don't see a rematch. I see Sammy taking some time off, possibly, and Bron just not exactly running roughshod like Gunther/Walter did, but it's going to be dominant. I see title run for a while at least. What says you?
I like a lot of what you said. I wouldn't even dispute it, because if you caught this past week, was it this past week's Raw, where Breaker even made a point of saying, I mean, you're preparing for after wrestling. Like, you don't need this one. I think he even made mention of that in his promo.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing these Sammy and Friends, and he's raising funds for his Sammy for Syria and his philanthropic work. And those things are really important. It's not to say that he couldn't balance between the two, but I think the way that Braun is positioned is exactly what you've said. I know people want to make a Goldberg comparison because of the spear but he just seems like he knows more of what he's doing at this stage in his very, very young career than a certain other football player did in that comparison. Yeah, they hit a same move, but the rate in which he does it is just it's phenomenal. So yeah, a dominant win from him would be the way to go. Definitely see it, and it's not a win that Sammy needs. I think we're okay with Braun as champion. Now, if we're with Braun as champion, who do you think is next for him? Like, who would be the first to step up?
Oh, hold on. Did you literally in that monologue you used Goldberg and who's next? Did you really just do that? Did you mean to do that?
No, I didn't mean to. It actually just worked.
That was very smooth, dude. Smooth.
Oh, thank you. I'm a smooth, cool dude, I guess.
With Bron, I honestly, I haven't a clue. I
Maybe
I
Ilya.
can't. Oh no! Don't give him Ilya. No,
then
because
you're just feeding Ilya to him, right? Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, don't give him. They probably will, because the matches these two will have will be amazing because they've had some absolute bangers on the NXT.
Mm.
But yeah, don't give him Ilya. I love Ilya. You all know how much I love Ilya.
I know, you and me both.
He's one in a million. He's so damn good. But yeah, don't feed him to Bron, because there's no way Bron's going to drop the title in his first defense. He's going to have a good 4 to 6 month title reign at least.
Well, he may have Sammy in a rematch, right? Maybe Sammy gets his rematch at the next event. So.
Yeah, but then are you getting overkill unless you put a stip in, because it'll be the third, fourth match if there's another rematch. I don't know, tables match, because then he can just spear him through a table. I don't know. I don't know, but regards of who's gonna take him on next, I honestly I don't know. It's
maybe Sheamus. I don't know.
That would be good. I could see Bron and Sheamus working really well. I mean, Bron obviously likes to work a bit on the stiff side of things, and Sheamus absolutely loves kicking the crap out of people. So that would be good. Also, side note, what's the betting at some point in Gunther/Walter's reign that he gets Sheamus? After Clash at the Castle from a couple of years ago, it's there. It's there, ready and waiting. But yeah, Bron's next. I don't know. Just please, you millions, don't compare him to Goldberg. Goldberg and Bron are just nowhere near each other. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
Well, outside of the spear and the actually identical tattoo on their arm,
yes, I know.
I think because I think he said that he's an influence, right?
I
So
mean, yeah, he's got to be. He's come from the football to the wrestling, like pro wrestling, same as what Braun did, at a much younger age. But Goldberg, again, hot take. Never a Goldberg fan. Never saw it. The guy had 2 moves, and he had the personality of a goldfish. Just no. And he, in air quotes, finished Bret Hart's career. So, being a Canadian, you should know that.
yep, I'm always team Bret Hart when it comes to that. He's
Yeah.
allowed to be as bitter as he wants to be.
I think we should go. We're in the middle of the card now, aren't we? Coming towards the top end. I reckon we should go the special guest referee grudge match of CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre and Seth freaking Rollins. Hopefully wearing some outlandish referee gear because it's just, it wouldn't be right without him. I have no idea who's. I used to go first, isn't it?
Yes, I think it would
Yeah.
be first. See, and this is the one I thought could main event with all the build up, the attention that it's gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I could have seen this potentially being the main event. Cody main evented Money in the Bank. I don't know if they would have him go back to back just for that reason. And he seems humble enough to like it not be him per se. But I don't know. Interesting. We'll see what happens. That said, with it being these 3, and I say 3 because Seth is part of it, I just hope we get the payoff that these last 6 months have been built towards. And I hope Punk makes it out feeling good and ready for another match, because the inactivity always concerns me with talent. And isn't that more likely to be where an injury is likely to happen, because you don't have the build up, you don't have the bumps in you, and I know that they're going to treat him like a commodity, CM Punk, and he's of value, and so they're not going to overuse him. So if he's getting that Brock Lesnar, he's going to compete on occasion, they run that risk of something happening and another injury happening, right? So, here we are, and he's cleared, and so he's ready to compete. I'm conflicted. This is the one match I'm so conflicted as to who needs the win more. I mean, could it be one where there is no decisive winner? Because Seth has come in and said, I'll pin when I want to pin. So you're covering the guy he doesn't feel like pinning to 3 just because he doesn't feel like it. Those were part of his rules. You'll break when I tell you to break. So I don't know. It could be just a real chaotic match. But I am really stumped because I don't know who needs the win more. I know we've seen Drew's best work as a heel in this time. I think, I am so torn. I really am torn because there are so many things that have gone on in exchange between the two of them where you could easily side with either guy. CM Punk costing Drew. Wishing that injury would come onto Punk. Like, either one of them. Either one. I just don't know. What's your take? I actually have to hear what you're going to say because it might sculpt an answer out of mine.
Okay. So, before and during, say, about half of what you just said, I had a definitive answer. And then you said something which has now made my mind go off in a completely different direction. And I'm now booking in a different way. So, this is a 2-part answer. Drew versus Punk with Seth as the guest referee. Before and during your answer there, I was going to say Drew's winning. Drew will win this and then go on to face Gunther in, I don't know, 1 or 2 matches for the World Heavyweight title. in what will be bloody good matches because it's Drew and Walter/Gunther.
Mm.
The reason for that would be Seth would inadvertently screw Punk out of the match. I don't know when it was or what match it was. Do you remember Shawn back in the late 90s? He was a special guest referee and he accidentally screwed someone over. I think it was Taker.
Yes,
And
with the steel chair.
Yes, something like that is going to happen. I still think, even with my second answer, I still think that's going to happen. And he's going to accidentally screw Punk out of it, which would then set up Punk versus Seth. There's a storyline written there already. It's been 10 years in the making. And then you said something where Seth said he will pin when he wants, he will call it when he wants. So how about this becomes somehow a no contest, a double count out, a double DQ, or something along those lines? Okay, and
like even Steph is taken out of it, so he can't make any decision.
Exactly. Coming off of that, how about Gunther/Walter's first defense is a 4-way against Drew, Punk, Seth, the next pay-per-view or something along those lines, because all three have, apart from Punk, but all three have some kind of claim to be a number one contender. Punk's is more because I'm CM Punk, Drew because he got screwed, Seth because Seth had not long had the title. If you have the 4-way and Gunther/Walter comes out on top, you solidify Gunther. He's just beaten 3 absolute legends of the ring. So it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a definitive Drew victory, or it's going to be an accidental cock up by Seth that causes shenanigans and, all hell breaks loose and there's a no contest. How the crowd and us lot react to a no contest, I don't know. But if they book it right, it can be done. It can be done. I've seen it. It can be done. Especially with, you've got 3 workers of that caliber.
Well, the thing is, with Seth being taken out, none of the other referees want to officiate because they're afraid. They've made a point of saying, so nobody would come to replace Seth because they're afraid too. So the match is just like Adam Pearce has to call it. It ends up being his decision, right? To have to end this match because there's just such chaos. It can be done. And it does segue into a CM Punk Seth Rollins feud, which I think really was the original plan, provided he didn't get hurt, right? Wasn't it him winning Elimination Chamber and them? So
you don't have an answer, and I've got 2. So
well, we can take one of. I'll take one of yours. Whichever
you take one. Yeah, it's fine. Everyone's a winner. But I don't see a Punk victory. I see it like one of those 2 ways. I can't believe it. I was listening to you, and all of a sudden you said that, and my mind just drifted. It was like, oh, look at this. We could do this. We could do that, and yeah. That's all my years playing WWE wrestling games with the general manager mode. Now,
in which with that kind of a proposal, a no contest as your main event, that's going to upset people too.
No, that's what.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's going to be a main event, especially if the rumors are right about someone returning. So
yes,
you wouldn't have that halfway through the card.
Nope.
Okay, so we're at the co-main event. We are, in my eyes anyway, the co-main event where the ex-champion Rhea Ripley gets a rematch and hopefully takes home her Women's World Championship when she faces Liv Morgan. I think it's me to shoot, isn't it? It's me to shoot my shot first.
Yep. Yeah, because I was indecisive. I feel like we're on the same page with this one, maybe too.
I don't know.
Really?
I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I don't know, and I'll walk you back to Damian Priest. Now, if Damian Priest gets screwed and has a face turn, what does that mean for Rhea? She's still part of Judgment Day. Probably the co-main event or whatever it is in the card. Would she side with Damian, or would she side with with Finn. If she sides with Dame or whoever she sides with, who's Dominic going to side with? Is Dominic going to screw Rhea and stay with Liv?
Yes.
Yeah, see, this again, this is a match that I can't. This is my match I can't call because it's the story to this has been absolutely brilliant. The only other story that I think out there that's better than this is in AEW, and that's Tony Storm and oh my god,
Mariah
I've
May.
forgotten her name. Thank you, Mariah May.
There you go.
That's the only other story which I think is probably about head. It's probably heads above this story, but the twists and turns of this story has been amazing. Is there going to be one major swerve right at the very end where Dominic screws over Rhea? Rhea is now officially a face, and I don't know. Maybe she sides with Damien in getting revenge on Judgment Day. Maybe Liv joins Judgment Day, and there's like I just don't know. I honestly I can't call it. I think Rhea's going to win. I reckon Dominic's going to be a good little boy and he's going to help her win. But I really would not be surprised if he turns, helps Liv joins Judgment Day, and he becomes Liv's bitch, basically. Either way, at the end of this pay-per-view, yes, I said it, pay-per-view, Judgment Day is kind of done. What says you?
So it's funny how I said something that made your mind wander, and now you said something that made my mind wander. So interesting. So you talked a lot about Finn, and I didn't think about Finn so much because I thought of his involvement with Priest. I can't see him playing a factor in both matches because it puts a lot on him to kind of restructure this entire group. Whereas you can build your strength in numbers from those that support you. I think whatever the decision is, I just, if I have to pick which is the bigger story, Finn's involvement here or Finn's involvement in the Priest Gunther's Walter match, I'm going to go with his involvement in that one. I think he's going to keep his nose out of this one. And I think this is going to be sheer betrayal on Dominic's part, simply because everything that we were led to believe in the crocodile tears and everything he said in Spanish and everything is meant, I think, is just a decoy. You're just meant to believe that everything is okay and she knows that you've got her. Like, she knows that you're on her side. Rhea knows that Dom is supporting her ultimately until he's not.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go to the one that actually made him feel important and valued. And all those things he can actually say that Liv did. Because all those other times, he was the one having to follow Rhea. And this toy and playing with each other really since he initially joined, even before he joined, right? And how she was trying to bring him on and making overtures, but there's never been any payoff for him. Whereas with Liv, he may be getting that payoff.
Yeah.
And so if a man's not necessarily thinking with the head on his shoulders and the other one is actually being appealed to, he might be the coward, but he's even more of a coward now too, staying with Liv.
Are we in agreement that Liv's going to win? Well,
yeah. Well, you're saying
I don't.
Unsure.
I'm unsure.
I'm gonna call for Liv to win, and that everything we've seen has just been a decoy that's been made to play with our heads, because she said, "I'm gonna take everything away from you," and yet burning T-shirts and causing damage and what have you. Although it's funny that you mentioned the Finn thing. If you didn't catch Raw this past week, did you?
Bits and pieces.
Okay, so she apparently destroyed the Judgment Day locker room setup, right? And all the faces that were X'd out on the Judgment Day banner, except for Finn's.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned. So who knows? Maybe
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna. My head says Liv. My heart says Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
But my head is like 70% more. 70%, 30%
Yeah.
for Liv. I think. I think we are at what is probably going to be the main event.
Yep. Yep.
We have Solo Sikoa from the Bloodline 2.0 taking on the champ, the man who finished the story, Cody Rhodes. Is it me? Or was it you? I've forgotten.
I think
I think
it's me because
okay.
you were indecisive.
Yes, on the last one. So
Yeah.
you can go, and then
Okay.
I'm going to make a bold prediction at the end of mine.
Ooh, I love it. I love bold projections. So I don't think what we didn't mention, and no, there isn't going to be a preview show. I think we are still going to see the Bloodline with gold because tonight, as we're talking, recording this, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga are facing DIY for the tag team championships. I think we're going to see new champions walking into SummerSlam tomorrow. And I think, wow, talk about strapping a rocket to Jacob Fatu. The guy's in within a month and he's already champion. And this is Unbreaker side-esque elevation. But if the rumors of a certain Roman Reigns returning are true, that would be great. I think that elevates the enthusiasm of this match. But I have a hard time calling against Cody. He's with everybody plotting against Cody and everybody that's been by his side hurt or taken out or not in the equation. I think he, having the champion still overcome odds to be the champion has been pretty much his MO. So yeah, that's going to be my take, but it'll be a fun ride if Mr. Reigns shows up as well. How about you? I'm more excited about your bold protection and everything, but go for it.
So this match is going to be carnage. Absolute carnage. You have Solo and the Bloodline. You're going to have Cody out there. You're going to have Kevin and Randy at some point coming out. The numbers will be against Cody. And then you're going to get Roman Reigns come out. And he won't be alone. He's going to have a certain Uso with him. The one that doesn't yeet, I think, will come back to maybe not
Jimmy?
even the odds. Yeah. I think him and Jimmy will make an appearance tomorrow, and it won't be to even the odds. I think they're going to, or Roman is going to try and not stop Solo, but basically show his authority. Like, I am back. I am the tribal chief. More shenanigans. Cody picks up the win, walks out champion. Now, you yesterday sent me a picture on WhatsApp of Survivor Series being War Games once again this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So my bold prediction is that War Games Survivor Series it's Vancouver, isn't it?
It is.
I think you're going to have the Bloodline 2.0 against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, and Jimmy Uso.
Mm.
And that won't be the end of it. It will be the start of Roman trying to get back to where he was, i.e. the champion, but first he has to take control of the bloodline. It's going to be a civil war, basically. I said this earlier with Judgment Day, but this will be a civil war. It's going to, that's what I can see happening. Whether or not it's going to end up like that is possibly not. But what's the saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep.
So it makes logic for Cody and Roman to get together, because this version of the bloodline is a lot more vicious and calculating against everyone they've ever come against. Whereas when Roman was in charge, it was more, it's not bravado as such, but it was less than what they're doing now with Solo in charge. And I think that's going to be the bone of contention that Roman's going to see. And yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. That's going to be your main event at Survivor Series, which is however many months away.
So to piggyback off of that, you have the bloodline as we know it now against your prediction of Roman and Jimmy and Cody, Randy and Kevin, right? So that was, but that leaves the bloodline short a person, or do they? If The Rock is the man actually stirring the pot behind scenes, right?
The Rock has not been seen since the night after WrestleMania, where he gave that really weird promo. He handed something to Cody, which still hasn't been addressed. He then left, and the very next day he started shooting on a film about that MMA guy whose name escapes me. I feel really bad. Mark.
I was going to say Mark too.
Yeah, Mark somebody.
Mark Coleman?
Mark Coleman? I think so. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, it's not important. What is important is that The Rock finished filming about a week ago. And as far as anyone can work out, his schedule is clear for a bit. So what's to say, as you just said, that The Rock isn't stirring the pot and being the big old mastermind behind Solo?
Yep.
It's all about the long game. And it's been decades since I've said that about a WWE storyline, but it's the long-term booking that is making this so good. When it was the night after WrestleMania, the second night, where Triple H, he said in an interview that the storyline with Cody finishing his story, etc., that wasn't the end. This you're going to see now what he meant. I hope. I'm touching everything like wooden possible for good luck. I hope that this is where it goes.
Provided everybody stays healthy, I think they'll have maybe some kind of a conclusion we can all kind of say, that works.
Yeah. And then you get all the way to Mania, where you get The Rock against Cody, and then Roman's going to be involved with Solo somehow, because that's just going to carry on and on. That's my bold prediction. Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you reckon, folks? Let me know in the comments, in the DMs, on the posts, all the other social media stuff that escapes me right now. So what do you reckon then? Do you how confident are you with your predictions? I'm
not.
You're not.
No. I mean, there's 7 matches. I would say some things feel a little more sure than others. Like, I'm not sure about the Punk one. You've created doubt now with the Liv Rhea one, and I think that's the great thing about our predictions. Is before it felt like 100%. This is the way they're going to go. I can't see it being anything different. And then the more you start trying to look at the breadcrumbs they've left, and does it really pull you in one direction or another? It's not supposed to be easy, and I think that's the fun that I'm having with it. How about you?
I'm out of 7 matches. I think I've got 2 nailed on, and that's LA Knight and Bron Breakker.
Yeah.
The rest, I mean, the Damien and Gunther, I reckon I'm like 95% sure that Gunther's going to win, but that 5% doubt is still there. Bailey Nia, it could go either way, you know. And Cody. Sorry, Cody adds to the definite list. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the rest, yeah, it is a toss of a coin. There's no clear winner, unlike, like I said, Brock and Gunther and Cody. I mean, I'll take those 3. If I get the rest wrong, I don't care, because I've called them 3. You know, it's in the public. It's in the public domain now. So if they come true, I'm a genius. So
there you go.
Even though they're the obvious ones, but I'll still take the genius tag. That's that, folks. That is the SummerSlam 2024 card previewed. By the time this goes live, it will be later that night, won't it? Yeah, it's going out tomorrow, so it'll be later that night. This SummerSlam will be on, and then we'll be back next week, and we may discuss how good or how bad we did. And maybe if it's how bad, we may just gloss over it and totally forget it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's time to go home, as they say in the biz. And as always, we finish up with our socials. So, Mark, me old mucker, me old pal, me old chickadee, what's your socials?
You can reach me on the Twitter X doohickey thing at the Mark Madison, or you can reach our site.
Doohickey.
Yeah, doohickey. I don't know whatchamacallit, thingamabob. I don't know.
I'm
Or you
sorry.
can reach. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm really showing my age saying something like that. Or you could reach me on our website, Pro Wrestling PST, both on Twitter X, on Instagram at Pro Wrestling Post, or search us up on Facebook. Give us a follow. Lots of old content. There will be links in blog posts to this recording airing between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You'll get a chance to link back and hear what Mark and I had to say. So yeah, yourself, friend.
Thank you. Yes, I am on the Twitter X doohickey thingamabob, whatever it is called. I am the Mark Blake, all one word. I haven't been on there for a while. I do apologise. I've done more Instagram than I have done Twitter, which I'm going to remedy tomorrow because I will be posting all about SummerSlam. And yeah, I'll try and get back onto Twitter again. I'm also on Insta, which I've also worked out is part of Threads. And I didn't know I was on Threads until I started getting messages saying that my posts on Insta were now on Threads. So I'm on both. They are both the same handle. It is the _Mark_Blake. Yeah, go on there, see my vlogs from my holiday in Turkey, which is where we was, my family and I, last week. Spoiler, I moan about the heat a lot. But yeah, that's that. As always, I've said throughout this recording that our DMs are open. Talk to us. We do love hearing from you guys. And we can't wait for you to laugh in our faces when we're wrong on our predictions. So, with that being said, it is time to go home. I need to edit this and get this out ASAP. Mark has family stuff to do. So, until next week, we will see you soon. Adios.
Bye.